This is part 2 of section 11.7. We want to talk about how to find the probability of an event happening at least one time. And before I go into all of this, I want you to remember from section 3.1. When we talked about quantified statements, one of the things we talked about was the statement some A are B, and how this statement is equivalent to saying at least one A is B. And then when we talked about negating something, some A are B, so that's equivalent to saying at least one A is B. The negation of this, no A are B. So if you want to find the probability that something happens at least once, which would be the same as this, then its negation is none are, it does not happen, and we subtract it from 1. So all of this is all interconnected. We're talking about negating a statement here, okay? So let's just find the probability, if we know that the probability that South Florida will be hit by a major hurricane, which is a category 4 or 5, and any single year is 1/16. What is the probability that South Florida will be hit by a major hurricane 2 years in a row? Okay. The probability that will be hit 2 years in a row, well, that would be the probability that you're hit the first year times the probability that you hit the second year, which I'm going to make, because I know where we're going, I'm going to make this note that that's 1/16 squared, which is 1 over 256, which is approximately 0.00390. Okay. What is the probability that South Florida will be hit by a major hurricane in 3 consecutive years? Well, the probability for 3 years would be the probability of the first year times the probability of the second year times the probability of the third year, which is 1 over 16 cubed. The number of years in a row is our exponent. This is 1 over 4096, which is approximately 0.00024. Okay, so what is the probability that South Florida will not be hit by a hurricane in the next 10 years? Well, the probability that you will be hit by a hurricane in any given year is 1/16. So the probability that you're not hit in any year would be 1 minus 1/16, or 15 over 16. So that would be the probability that you're not hit in any one year. So the probability that you're not hit 10 years in a row, we're going to be building off of this basic idea here. 3 years in a row was that 3 as your exponent. It was the probability that you were hit. Here, the probability that we're not hit 10 years in a row would be the probability that we're not hit in 1 year raised to the 10th power, because that's how many years. Now this is approximately 0.52446. Now, what is the probability that Florida will be hit by a major hurricane at least once in the next 10 years? So if we want the probability that it happens at least once, we want the probability that it does not happen at all in the next 10 years. So the probability that we are hit at least once equals 1 minus the probability that it never hit, would be 1 minus 0.52446, which is 0.47554. Okay, similar problem. The probability that a region prone to flooding will flood in any given year is 1/10. What is the probability of a flood 2 years in a row? We have a different probability number here, but it's the same type of problem. The probability 2 years in a row would be 1/10 squared. So that is 1 over 100, which is 0.01. The probability of flooding in 3 consecutive years. This will be 1/10 to the third power, which is 1 over 1,000, which is 0.001. Okay. What is the probability of no flooding for 10 consecutive years? So the probability of no flooding in any one year would be 1 minus 1/10. So that would be 9/10. So the probability of no flood for 10 years would be 9/10 to the 10th power. And that is approximately 0.349. So what is the probability of no flooding, of flooding at least once in the next 10 years? Well, that probability will be 1 minus the probability that it does not flood at all, which gives you approximately 0.651.